I like to freeze my shit and use it as a butt plug. Oh, to each their own. John, have you ever met your fans before IRL? I actually ran into a fan the other day. I was late night grocery shopping for things to cook in my crock pot. Because I gotta start fucking eating healthy, fresh food, or I'm gonna fucking die. I'm not even fucking kidding. My diet is so fucking pathetic. So, I gotta like go shop from the fresh produce aisle for like the first time in my life. And I was looking for ingredients to make spaghetti. I was looking at all the fucking powders and shit, like, oh Christ, okay, what do I need? Like, ground pepper, oregano, basil, thyme, pasta. I just had this big fucking list of ingredients and, you know, trying to track down them all, because this is the first time I've ever, like, shopped for this kind of shit, like, individually. Like, what, how do I just, like, like, the whole point of this is to eat healthy, so I can't, there's no point in just buying a can of pre-made pasta sauce and, like, cooking the pasta myself, because the pasta sauce, if I just buy that on its own, that's, like, loaded with fucking sodium, and that's pretty much what I'm trying to, like, avoid in the first place. So I gotta make, like, the pasta sauce myself, so I gotta get all the individual things, like, I'm like, so you need tomato sauce and tomato paste, and I'm like, are they different things? What the fuck is the difference between tomato sauce and tomato paste? And eventually I learned, like, one's thicker than the other. I'm like, okay, so isn't tomato sauce just tomato paste with just water in it? Why do I have to buy both fucking things? So I was just getting frustrated and like this shouldn't be this. I was angry at myself. Like, I'm just shopping, doing healthy shopping. Like, this shouldn't be so fucking hard and frustrating. Why am I having such a fucking hard time with this? Just fucking, like, shopping, trying to eat healthy. And it just took me like a fucking hour and a half just cruising all the aisles trying to make sure I fucking had everything. And I'm like, it shouldn't be this fucking hard. I'm so fucking inept. Like, I'm just trying to make fucking spaghetti, for Christ's sake. I'm not trying to make some extravagant fucking Christmas dinner. Just like something really bare bones I can just toss into the crock pot and then kind of be done with it. Well, pasta's a little bit more complicated, but still a simple meal. I mean, you just gotta boil the pasta in a pot and then get like you can't do everything in the crock pot is the point. Normally I try and get all the, you know, look up recipes where I don't have to fucking do anything except chop shit up at the most. Throw it all in the crock pot and just let that go all night, and then in the morning I got something to eat. I can just freeze that shit. One is a sauce, one is a paste. Yeah, no shit. That's exactly what I fucking said. Well, I just didn't visually kind of at the time see a difference between sauce and paste. Just like paste. Like, isn't that sauce? So why would they sell paste on its own? Isn't if that's canned just like tomato sauce is, it's probably loaded with sodium as well, isn't it? So why the fuck am I buying this? I don't know. Eventually I got most of the things, but then I got home and I realized that I forgot to buy a fucking onion. And like, I got garlic for some reason thinking that was an onion. like, oh, I can cross onion off my list. I got this clove thing that looks like an onion, but it's like garlic. But garlic was one of the other things I needed, so whatever. But I still need an onion, and I need like what else do I need? I gotta get a boiling pot for like the pasta. I thought I had one in the house. It doesn't look like there is one. And I need some shit like a strainer and just a bunch of fucking things I forgot. Fucking, like, it takes me so much time to like psych myself into the mood for like cooking. And it's like, if I feel like I'm in the mood finally, and I don't have all the things that I need, like I have most of the things except a few things, I get so fucking mad. Like, there's no point in starting because I don't have this one fucking thing that I need to do this thing. Because I can't just let the food sit, like cook it, and then like realize that I forgot something crucial, and then like I can't finish the meal. And then I have all this fucking wasted food to discard. And it's just this anxiety because I've never really cooked for myself before. Like, I barely know how to make spaghetti. I know the basic instructions, but like only because I looked them up recently. Like, I've never really cooked for myself. I'll always just like eating shit out of the can, which people probably think is disgusting. I don't give a fuck. That's just how I live my life. Frozen dinners, canned shit. I'm not fussy. It's like, whatever. If it means I don't have to cook and all I have to do is throw this in the microwave for 2 minutes, fine. I'm fucking laughing. Just fucking make toast and pancakes for the rest of your life. Yeah, and then I will fucking drop dead. But somehow, by the grace of God, I somehow managed to make a decent, not even decent, tolerable lentil soup with my crock pot. Put these big fucking hunks of broccoli in, and I told my mom, I was like, are you sure these pieces are gonna break up? Like, yeah, it's fine, the heat will break it up. But of course that didn't happen, so I'm just have all these frozen dinners, which is basically just a pool of soup around a giant fucking tree of broccoli in the middle. And the first time I didn't heat it right, so when I dug it, I bit into the broccoli, it was fucking freezing cold in the center. And I didn't put any kale in, which apparently is supposed to make it tastier, and I guess I fucked up the seasoning because it just doesn't taste very flavorful. Just like, oh my god, I'm such a pitiful piece of shit. I can't cook to save my life. Kraft dinner for life. Yeah, dude, I was eating Kraft dinner almost like every fucking day. I was like, I can't eat this every day and like microwave Kraft dinner every day and expect to live longer than fucking 40. Like, I gotta do something. Like, I need to like get on board with this like fresh ingredient cooking shit. And I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it so goddamn much. But I have to do it, otherwise I'm gonna die. Like, it takes that much to motivate me to do something like cooking. You might die in a few years. Oh well, fuck, I guess I fucking have to do this shit again. God damn it. This fucking cooking bullshit. Waste so much fucking time. You got so much fucking cleaning up to do. Ugh. John, your followers are cancerous waiting to be noticed. I don't let it bother me. Notice me, senpai. Just eating the veggies raw. Ugh, I can't do that. I was never that guy. Like, I remember people at school would offer me snacks. I'd be like, hell yeah, cool. And it would be like a bag of carrots, and I'd be like, ugh, I'll pass, thanks. Because I still had that mentality. I still do. Like, that fucking 6th grade mentality. Like, what kind of fucking nerd eats vegetables? Fuck you. John, just eat Papa John's. Hashtag Papa Bless. Tomato soup can taste good with no effort. Yeah, but I wanted something more filling. I mean, that's where the lentil comes in handy. Fuck you. I need some more weapons. Fucking around with fucking lame-ass firecrackers and shit. Go on the Hannibal Lecter diet, it's the best. Eat healthy and get rid of my enemies at the same time. Just cuck your food, John, it's easy. Yeah, instead of a master cook, I'm a master cuck. Grow some watercress on your window ledge or some shit, Lamau. We should all send John easy recipes in the fan mail. Hey, that's a good idea. Shit. If you can think of something that's not a fucking joke and just like, well, what you're gonna want to do is put a half gallon of semen in the crock pot and let that sit, stir that for a little bit, put a little more semen in there, and maybe some smegma, just chisel it off the end of your penis there. Don't fucking troll me with that shit. If you're gonna send me a recipe, send me a legit one. Eat hair cake. The fuck am I doing, seriously? John, why you no stream on Twitch anymore? I don't know, it just seems like YouTube is the better streaming option. Like, it's more accessible. I have a greater reach to my audience because all my fans are YouTube subscribers, guaranteed. The interface is simple, it's easy to use. I don't know, it just feels like using Twitch is kind of making people, fans of me on YouTube, jump through an extra hoop to, like, access me. But if everyone's on YouTube, then why don't I just do YouTube? V8, John. Yeah, but I can't just fucking drink V8 for the rest of my life. Like, I'm looking for sustainable options here. Like, shit I can make really easily that's actually fucking healthy and might make me live to around 60. I'll take 60. I mean, I hope I'm not fucking consumed by diabetes at that point and I've lost a fucking limb by the time I'm 60. Or some other fucked up shit. Organ failure. And all the beautiful things that happen to the body with age that we have to look forward to. All the horrible fucking shit. Awesome. Really puts me in a good mood. Have you played Day of Infamy? No, I haven't. YouTube streaming is shit. How is it shit more so than Twitch, though? Is Twitch really that much better? I mean, I'm open to reasons. I mean, just let me know why Twitch is better, and I'll use Twitch. John, did you mention how you met the fan? Yeah. I mean, how would you know that I mentioned... How would you know to say that if I didn't? John, any new thoughts, hoes, new ladies? Can I be your best man / cuck? There've been a few ladies I've talked to, but nothing that went anywhere. Still a fucking loser. YouTube is better than Twitch. Yeah, I don't know. Cook eggs with sausages. Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe if they're fresh sausages, that would be alright. But still, you can't... I mean, now and then, like, anything is fine. But I gotta start having meals that are consistently healthy. Like, at least once a day, eat something that's not fucking a joke. Junior mints. I mean, seriously, that's how I used to live a portion of my youth. Like, if I was hungry and parents weren't around, like, I would just fill up on cookies. Because, like, fuck it. I'm hungry, no one's around, so I don't have to eat a proper dinner. Why wouldn't I just eat cookies? Why don't I just live off cookies for the rest of my life? This is what I actually thought as a kid. How fucking stupid was I? Too much cholesterol. Yeah. It's always some fucking thing. You immediately latch on to something that you enjoy and you start doing that a lot. It's like, well, you know, too much of that can't be healthy because of this reason. And you just want to go, ah, fuck you. Fuck off. Even though they're trying to help you. Sad mentality that I have. I'm trying to grow up. I'm trying. Gotta fucking grow up sometime. I don't have any fucking weapons. Why do I play like such a fucking tool? And all these weapons fucking suck. Don't forget your change. Did you see that? I was hitting him with a cash register and I said, don't forget your change. You get it? Do it, John. Unleash your cuck rage. Make combos. Yeah, I better do that, eh? Tomahawk. There we go. John, did Machinima fuck you over in LA? I don't know. Not in LA specifically, but in general, kind of towards the end, I feel that way. Because their way of letting me off their payment, the payroll, and like just not taking content from me was just ignoring me and ignoring my fucking emails. Even though I was greenlit for an episode of Chemotherapy and I made that and I sent it to them and it sat in their fucking servers for months and I had to email them saying, can you please just finally look at it and tell me if I need to recut it? Otherwise, what's the problem? Air it. You know? And they just weren't responding to my fucking email. So eventually I sent an email that was so fucking sarcastic and cartoonish and scathing that they eventually got back to me and they've told me what was up. Like, we can't keep taking content from you. It's not working out. We want to go in a different direction. We don't think the audience, like, you're appealing to an audience that does not align with our audience. You know. Standard bullshit. And I was arguing that, you know, you're not giving your audience enough credit for their intelligence, but Machinima seemed determined to, like, not consider their audience's intelligence anything above that of a child, you know, who wants shitty, disposable, forgettable content every week. Everyone wants to hear about how I lost my virginity, you fucks. You really want to hear that story? I'll tell you if you want to hear it. But I'm not... you guys... I'll tell you if you want to hear it. I'll wait until you guys receive that in the chat, and then I'll wait for it to go nuts. If you guys are all fucking clamoring like you are currently. All spam details. Well, everybody's clamoring now. Alright, so at a party, I think it was a New Year's party. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was a New Year's party. And I was living at the house at the time, so I was one of the tenants of the house that the party was in. And we had a bunch of people, mostly from our film program there. I went to, I was at this party. Fuck me. Don't tell us. Why do you fucking assholes do this? You clamor for the story 1 minute, I start telling it, and then I glance over at the chat, and they're like, no, keep it to yourself, John, don't tell us. And it fucks me up, and then I lose my train of thought. You guys are so fucking contrarian. But I can't blame you. That's the fucking internet for you. It's never gonna fucking change. So anyway, I'm at this fucking party. A bunch of guys and chicks come over. A lot of them from our film program. But there's one girl there who is there because she's not part of the film program, but a guy who had gone on Tinder looking for a date and got in contact with somebody over Tinder and invited them over to the house for the party. And when she got there and the two met, they didn't get along. So there was a girl there left with no date, right? And that's where I came along. And I was talking to her. Eventually, I sat down in an armchair. She sat down in this love seat adjacent to me. And there was a third guy there who was hitting on her very hard. He was very drunk. But I could read her body language and what she was saying, and she was really not into it. But this guy who was drunk and hitting on her was so convinced that she was into him. but I could see that that just wasn't the case. Like, it was plain as day for me. And I had had a few myself. So, so eventually that guy went to bed. And so me and the girl and a bunch of other guys go downstairs to, like, watch TV. You truly are a cuck master. John, you literally cucked this dude. All of these years we called John the cuck. Oh, man. That was a train wreck, dude. I mean, I didn't say anything. I was just sitting back watching the show because I was like, I know this isn't going to go anywhere, so I'm not threatened. You know what I mean? Because she's so not into it. So I was hanging back, and then I started engaging her in conversation. And I was taking an interest in what she did. Like, she was telling me she was working with, like, disabled children and stuff at a hospital. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, how do you find that? Like, do you find that rewarding work? I mean, it's just very admirable for you to do something like that. And she was really into the conversation. She was having a great time talking to me. And yeah, so I skipped a little further ahead earlier. But we went downstairs and started watching some shit on the TV. And I'm engaging in some conversation with people nearby, but, you know, at the same time trying to impress her with the things that I know about shit, you know what I mean? It's all a game. Eventually everybody's going to bed, right? But here's the thing. I had no intention of getting laid that night. And I think that was kind of what helped it along, you know what I mean? Because if you're desperate, women sniff that like sharks detecting a drop of blood in the water. Like, they know how to detect it, and they avoid it like the plague. And guys should avoid being desperate like the plague. And so we're sitting downstairs, and everybody's going to bed, so it's just me and the girl left pretty much, right? And so she goes upstairs, and she says, I'm just going to crash on the couch upstairs. And so I'm still in the basement, and I'm walking with her a little bit. And I'm saying, oh, hey, you want a blanket for upstairs if you're going to crash on the couch? And she says, yeah, that'd be great. And why don't you come with me? So I was like, upstairs with you? Okay. Yeah, sure. Playing it cool. You know, I knew where I was heading. But, like, you play it off like it's nothing. You can't just go, upstairs? Really? Okay. You got to be like, upstairs? Yeah, whatever. I'll come along, sure. If you think you can entertain me. You know, you gotta play it that way. You gotta spin it on them. It's like, you impress me. You know what I mean? So I got her a blanket. No, actually, okay, here, I messed up a little bit. She went upstairs. I said, do you want a blanket for upstairs if you're gonna crash? And I'm not thinking I'm getting late at this point, right? I'm just thinking, oh, she's going to sleep upstairs. Whatever. And I'm just asking honestly, do you want a blanket for upstairs? Because, you know, it might get cold up there. She's like, yeah, sure. So I get the blanket and I go upstairs and I go into the living room upstairs, and it's just me and her up there. And I'm like, here's the blanket. All right. And I say, like, I'm just about to head out of the living room, and I'm like, hey, we're probably going to go for breakfast tomorrow. So you're welcome to come with us if you want. That was it. And then it was at that point where she invited me to stay in the room and hang out to talk. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So I sat down next to her. It was really fucking awkward at first because I'm sitting there. We both know what's up, but like there's this awkwardness and nobody's saying the first thing. Like, because this is really the hardest part of the whole dating game, getting laid, you know, is sealing the deal. How do you seal the deal? How do you know when to go in, make that final move to get a kiss in? You know what I mean? When do you do that? When is that okay, and when is it creepy? And she's gonna be like, "Ew, I wasn't into you that way. Like, you totally got the wrong impression." And you're just like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I should never. I'm gonna be single forever." Details, John. Pornhub is down. Yeah, so we're sitting on this futon. I'm on one side, she's on the other. We're just staring forward. Like, desperately thinking of what to say to one another. By the way, is this stream still okay? It says the stream health is fucking pathetic. Shit, I don't have fucking games downloading on Steam, do I? I fucking better not. No, Steam would have turned it off if I'm playing Dead Rising. Oh, it won't even let me fucking bring it up. Jesus Christ. Sorry, I'll resume the story in a second here. Fucking hell. At the best part. Oh god, what's gonna happen? Okay, well, it says the stream is fine. It just looks... YouTube says it looks bad. Okay. So anyway. So I can't just say, like, hey, wanna fuck? You gotta, like, ease into it somehow. That's the art of it. So I'm thinking, like, I don't know, maybe I brought something up about her job. Like, I thought it was really cool what she did. Or, I don't know, just some meaningless details about what I noticed around me in the room at the time. And she's just like, oh, yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, whatever. And then she's kind of doing the same thing. And I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. And it's just, like, repeatedly eventually keeps failing to silence. And we're just staring forward again. Like, nothing's happening. So I don't know what the fuck it was I said. I wish I knew what it was, too, because it's such a... It must be such a key line, but I guess it was just so gradual based on whatever we were talking about that she mentioned, I guess, the idea of me kissing her, or like I thought she was attractive or whatever. Maybe that was the gateway line. And then you got to escalate and touch her. Yeah, body contact. I know, but I didn't at this point because I'm an idiot. Oh, Katie's dead. Oops. So I'm getting so fucking frustrated because I'm like, I'm gonna blow this. It's right here in front of me, the opportunity, and I'm blowing it. I'm actively blowing it, like I'm the conductor of a train, and I have full control, but I'm just not doing anything, and I'm letting the train go full speed off of a cliff before my eyes. And I'm just fucking standing there going, oh, I'm gonna let this happen. But thank God, somehow the conversation got to how we found each other attractive. And then she mentioned the idea of me kissing her. And then I said, so do you think I could just go in for a kiss right now? Like, I said something like that. I asked her permission. And she said, yeah. And then that's where I went in. And I kissed her. And then she grabbed me. And then we started making out heavily for like about 30, 45 minutes on the couch. And it's pretty dope, dude. I mean, I don't know how much detail you want me to go in here. We were doing over the clothes, making out at first. Got a little more heated than that. Shirts came off. I don't want to get too graphic with it. I mean, this is for a lot of people. I'm sure this is like the end of Act 2. People want to hear the action-packed third act, where things get really steamy, and I go into graphic detail about every single fucking thing that we did. Did you suck her dick? No. But we made out, and then she sucked my dick, and that was pretty ballin'. And then we got naked, and she let me do her doggy. And then after that, she let me finger her. And she was like, have you ever fingered anybody before? And I was like, no. And she's like, you've never had this happen? She grabs my fingers, and she puts them in her pussy. And I'm just like, the look on my face, like it's like enthusiastic, but just like in shock at the same time. Like it was cool, but my face was kind of not saying that. It was just kind of like that. Oh, it's so funny now that I think about it. And then I got under and she rode me. Cowgirl. And clap. Yeah, people are clapping. Yeah. I gave you the gory bits. That's what happened. Did she have a stanky puss? No. She was great. I had a great time. I never really talked to her again after that, though. We texted a few times, but that was it. Kind of fizzled after that. I think we kind of both knew it was just like a one-night thing. John got dominated. Then you read the Bible? Of course. John was eating ass, no doubt. Well, what happened the next morning, actually, I had told her, like, hey, if you want to stick around for breakfast in the morning, you're more than welcome. But when I woke up in the morning, she was gone. So I guess, like, probably right after we had sex, she probably took off. or maybe a couple hours, an hour or two after. She didn't waste any time taking off. But I learned a lesson that day, you know? Like, just how easy it can be to, like, seduce somebody if you let yourself. And just, like, so much bullshit gets in the way. Like, irrational phobia and, like, oh, is that okay if I say this or I do this or I touch her like this? Women like to be touched, believe it or not. They just don't want you to be creepy about it. You gotta be subtle. But you don't have to do the fucking hover hand if you're one of those people, because that does turn them off. That's beta shit. They'll pick up on that and be like, ugh, this guy's not comfortable with, like, physical contact. That's weird. But if you comfortably, like, put a hand on their shoulder, if you like, walk by them or you're talking to them or something, they will completely respond to that. I mean, if you're not too unattractive to them, I guess. But you just have to be not creepy about it. You got to learn how you are always being perceived at any given time. You have to, like, assess your behavior at all times and be charming and empathetic and care about what they have to say, you know, and emote. That's how you get a woman interested in you. Feel something. We all feel so much closer to John now. Thanks, John. Honestly, a great story. Was it really that great? I don't know if it was that great. I mean, it feels like all I had to do was say, and then I banged her. It could have been anything prefacing that. But that just because I say, and then I banged her, everyone just fucking erupts into applause, like the end of a fucking 80s movie. Yeah! Freeze frame, everybody's throwing their fucking hats in the air. And women want sex as much as guys, too. I used to not believe that, honestly. But it makes sense to me more and more the older I get, the more I think about it. Like, of course they do. Why would they be any less driven or to like sex than us? It's just that the way that the genders are valued in society are very different. Men's social value go up the more they get laid, and women's social value go down the more they get laid. So it's in their interest to be very selective, and it's in our interest to get as laid as much as possible. So because of that, women are terrified of being thought of as a slut. That is a real phobia for them. They do not, like, the word slut to them is very harsh. It's like saying the word cunt, I think. Maybe even more offensive. Because the implication is that it severely lessens their social value if they're just like the local lay who fucks everybody. No woman wants to be that. But every guy wouldn't mind being that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I fucked this chick, I fucked that chick, I fucked two chicks at the same time. Nobody fucking cared. Everybody think it's awesome. And the chicks respect that too. Maybe to varying degrees, but I think it is respected kind of fundamentally because it's just like, oh, that's just boys, that's what they do. And that is genetically what we're predisposed to do. It's how people keep getting fucking manufactured. Pro cucking tips for John. Don't fucking pass this off as nothing. I'm telling you some real shit here, believe it or not, that's gonna help you. I wish I had someone like me giving me the lowdown on shit when I was younger. Can you just give me an instruction manual of how to fucking live my life? Like if I could somehow time travel and contact my past self and say, look, you're going to run into a lot of bullshit. Here's what you got to keep in mind, okay? Here's what you got to remember. I know you're not going to believe this now, but trust me, okay? Trust me, I'm you. I would know this shit. I really don't get why John is mistaken for Onison the cuck. Who the fuck is that? If a guy brags a ton about getting laid, he's kind of an asshole, though. Yeah, but there's a difference between getting laid a lot and bragging about it. I didn't necessarily mean that you have to brag about it, but guys who get laid a lot but are very discreet about it, those are very highly valued people by men and women on a very broad level. You know what I mean? In a species-wide reproductive sense, they're valued. Thanks, John. Now I know how to get laid. Go forth, my minions. Go forth and multiply. Oh, also, don't put women up on a pedestal. They don't like that. And I should take my own fucking advice because this is what I kept doing. And I fucked up every relationship with any girl that I ever had a crush on by doing this shit. that I thought too highly of them and I scared them off. But I didn't mean to. Like, and every time I screwed up, I tried to be more careful the next time, and I just kept fucking it up. They hate the idea of you thinking of them that they're perfect, because then that feels like that makes them feel like if they slip up at all, that they're going to be a disappointment to you. And they know that there's a part of them that's like annoying or unpleasant or whatever. Like, everybody has things that they don't like about themselves. So nobody wants to be thought of by someone else, or like a partner at least, as this perfect person, you know, that's always a pleasure to be around. Because they're afraid that you're going to be horrified one day. Don't put the pussy on a pedestal. Yeah. 40-year-old virgin said the same thing. It's okay to have a crush on somebody and be over the moon, you know, to have that feeling. But if you don't want to scare them off, then you really got to dial it down. You can't be worshipping the ground they walk on, because that's going to turn them off. This is where the red pill theory comes into play a lot. And, you know, I take and leave stuff from that. I think there's a lot of truth to it, but there's a large portion of the red pill community where I'm thinking like, okay, where is the line drawn between people who really want to share what reality is and young guys who are just fucking bitter assholes because they're not getting laid and have turned misogynist, you know what I mean? And so, but they operate under the guise of being red pilled, like, oh, I understand, you know, women just don't want sex ever because they're not getting fucking laid and they're frustrated. But there's a lot of positive shit to extract from that whole red pill thing. And I think women are kind of fundamentally attracted to men who they perceive are better than them. I don't mean to sound sexist with that either, but I think, you know, women in general, they like height, they like tall guys, they want guys looming over them, they want guys who are confident, who can take control, who can say, hey, I know exactly where we're going on our date tonight. We're going to this place. I already made a reservation. That's what they want to fucking hear. Because there's this, and that leads to like these annoying fucking gender stereotypes that's made modern dating so fucking confusing and horrendous. Everybody's so ambivalent about like old-fashioned relationships and modern relationships. It's like, does the guy pay for his own shit and the girl pay for her own shit? Or like, do I pay for the girl? Like, do I do that on a date? Like, is that me just paying for sex? Where's the line between that and prostitution? You know what I mean? If my goal is to get laid here or get in a relationship, or is it perceived as like the evil patriarchy always paying for women's meals, like because it's like a method of control or whatever? It's like, well, I'm paying for this meal, so that means you gotta suck my dick tonight. You know what I mean? Or do women like that? Like, nobody fucking knows the answer to these questions. Modern dating sucks so much fucking dick. It just makes me want to die alone, just so I don't have to fucking deal with it. But anyway, women don't want a completely passive guy either. They want not necessarily to be challenged all the time, but somebody who is capable of putting up a fight against them, calling them out on their own bullshit. And whenever like a boy gets mad at a girl, the girl's kind of I think like if a girl makes a guy mad, the fact that the guy gets mad and like lashes out and shouts, I think women appreciate that to some subconscious degree, because what's the alternative? Like somebody who holds them up on a pedestal, like the girl does something and the boy just doesn't react, because the girl's just gonna go, what, like, shout at me, say something, what are you doing, like, feel something, get mad at me, don't think that everything I do is awesome, like, this isn't fair to you. Like, they'll get upset. So it's okay to be not perfect, and you got to acknowledge that they're not going to be perfect either. Just because you're in love with someone doesn't mean they're not going to be a pain in the ass to fucking be around. This is an amazing conversation. Well, I'm glad people think so. About time people fucking listen to me. Why is John playing this shit game? This isn't shit. I'm sucking so fucking terribly because I'm focusing on more than one thing here. Sorry, what, John? I wasn't listening. Life lessons with Papa John. Nice guys finish last. Yep. To a degree, that's true. It's the solution isn't being an asshole though. It's like being a nice guy, but knowing how to when and how to turn on that asshole switch. You know what I mean? And fight for your respect and what's yours, and call out a woman on her bullshit. Because sometimes women bullshit do things to fuck with you deliberately, to test your boundaries, to see how much shit you will take before you lash out and go, hey, that's bullshit. Don't do that. And they'll be like, oh, okay. They play fucking games like that all the fucking time. Hashtag not all women. I know not all women, okay? There's some fucking exceptions. I'm just speaking on a general level here.
You gotta watch your microaggressions, John. You really gotta watch those. Because that was really offensive what you said.
Fuck you. John, have you heard of RSD? They're a great group on YouTube. Give it a watch. No, I haven't. Be dominant, not an asshole. Yeah, but you gotta keep that, like, dominate, like, don't, there's a very particular way of going about it. You can't be too dominant. You can't, that you just come off as an asshole, but you gotta have respect for yourself and have a backbone and be willing to stand your ground when it's appropriate. And don't think women aren't paying attention. They watch that shit. They watch your behavior around other guys, and they watch your body language, and they can see if you have alpha or beta tendencies. So you better project the right thing if you want to get noticed. Like every time you catch yourself kind of like at a party and you're not seeing anything and you're kind of fidgeting and staring at the floor and kind of wringing your fingers, catch yourself. Say, stop it. Don't do that. Compose yourself. Let yourself hang loose. Stand tall, upright. Posturize yourself. Get your back straight. Stare forward. Stare with determination. Sounds a little too lame, but just like poise yourself in a way that you're kind of projecting nobody better fuck with me. You know what I mean? But not in a way that is uninviting. You can still be dominant, but be like the party guy who's very affable. That's the trick. That's who the guy that you want to be. You got to ride that line. Disregard females, acquire currency. When am I going to get a decent fucking weapon? Maybe about the same time I start playing this with some observational skill. Grab her by the pussy, John? Yeah. Throw all my other advice out the window. That's all you gotta do, really. Grab her by the pussy. Grab her by the pussy and then fuck her right in the pussy. 2 steps to success. That's all you gotta know. Alright, let's pick up where we left off with the emails. God, that pissed me off. Can't fucking believe that shit. All that fucking time. Hey, John, it's fucking awful to see your stupid face. Thanks. I feel for you. Hey, John, this is from Kevin. Hey John, I've been a long-time fan of yours ever since the first season. I even watched your totally awesome Digital Fears guide to making Halo 3 machinima. It's going back quite a ways, which I found very informative. With that being said, I still fucking suck at making machinima, so fuck you, your advice didn't work, faggot. Anyway, I've always found it so impressive that one person has managed to create and manage a series for so long with practically no help apart from vocal talent, as well as the fact that you've managed to take 2 measly pair of toys and turn them into characters that people have become so attached to over this 8-year journey and make those people laugh, cry, create memories, and even inspire some folks like myself. To me, that's just fucking awesome. I don't know if you ever really think about it or not, but you've done something that not every person on this planet gets to do, and that's change, affect, and improve lives. You heard it. You heard it there, folks. My show saves lives. Some YouTubers just upload videos and that's the end of it, which isn't always bad, but you've managed to go above and beyond what most people on this website do, and that's just so cool to me. As you grow up, you've always got people telling and asking you to pick a career for... Little advice, if you want me to read the email out on the podcast, try and keep it a little more concise. Try to keep it to 1 paragraph if you can. As you grow up, you've always got people telling and asking you to pick a career for when you get older, and as you age, you hear the question more and more, and like many people, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I was good at. And as I got closer and closer to college, and I still hadn't made my choice, I thought, what if I became a writer? Having some doubts, Arby and the Chief immediately came to mind, and I thought to myself, if he can do all that with a pair of toys, then what could I do? That's exactly what I want people to take from this show. People see the all of a sudden, I think a lot of people watching my show realize just how much you can captivate an audience with really nothing to speak of in terms of budget or props or actors or whatever. I mean, if you know how to write dialogue, and you can write a convincing story with like meaningful juxtaposition and themes, you can really capture somebody's attention. It doesn't matter if you don't have actors or whatever. If the writing is there and people can get on board with your story, then you're golden. You're laughing. And even then, boom, one fap later, I decided to become a screenwriter. I've even been working on writing a pilot script for a show I thought of. So to you, John, thank you very much for allowing me to finally answer such a stressful question and to begin working towards my future life. That is, unless it doesn't work out, then again, fuck you, faggot. Now my questions are, how do you get in the mood for writing? Sometimes I feel like I need to get inspired almost, and I don't really know how to get myself in the mood to write sometimes. Secondly, what's your outlining process for an episode and season? Oh boy, that's a lot to unpack. And finally, would you ever consider selling RB and the Chief shirts? Actually, I got an email about a merchandising thing. Like, you know, if you do moderately well on YouTube, you start getting all these emails like, I'm contacting you on behalf of whatever the fuck talent agency, with the leading talent agency on YouTube. It's like, is every talent agency the leading talent agency? That seems to be the case, because that's the fucking buzzword every one of you guys uses to advertise yourself. And they all have the same fucking like PDF that they send potential clients, like, check out our VIP package. And it's just like one-on-one contact with your support team, which I don't care about. Dedicated artists that create art for you, for your channel, which is cool, but again, not something I really need. Securing like sponsorship deals for you, which is something I'm a little iffy about, because then I'd have to start making shows that begin like, I'd have to upload videos that begin kind of like, this episode is brought to you by Audible.com, which is, not such a bad thing. Audible's pretty cool, but it's just something I'd feel very uncomfortable doing, I think, because I've always just been so like controlling over my own content. I don't know. But anyway, that's just never really appealed to me. These networks that email me. I notice you're not part of a network. You really got to be part of one. Do I really? Do I have to? Because I was with Machinima for a little while, and other than a sustainable income, I got paid pretty well by them. But other than that, they weren't really doing anything for me in terms of producing the show. I was doing the show all on my own. So I kind of like that now that Machinima's out of the picture and I'm doing season 8, it's kind of showing people like I really never needed Machinima to make the show. It's just they were paying me a healthy sum of money to do it. But yeah, I don't know. Networks. I was almost on board with one company that reached out to me, and one of their marketing points was that they had this partnership with some kind of tech giant that had developed this very highly spoken of search engine optimization technology. And this network that had contacted me was partnering up with them to bring the most sophisticated search engine optimization technology, which sounds very nice, but anytime I ask exactly how this SEO shit works, nobody's able to really tell me anything. But anyway, I got reached out to this one company, and they showed me their VIP package, and I was like, yeah, all right, cool, I'll see what it's all about. How do I get an invitation? And so I waited for an email back for an answer, and I was like, okay, I'm not getting one. So I was getting impatient. I was like, okay, I'll just apply through the website. So I went to their website, and I clicked the button. It was like, let us send an invitation to you to join their network. So I did that. But as soon as I did that, I looked at the fine print, and I saw that it was a 50-50 ad revenue split. And I was like, nope, fuck that. Like, if you join I'm not completely naive. There's a lot of shit I don't know, but going into something like that, if you have a YouTube channel and you're going to get picked up by a network, you don't want to give them any more than 30%, I don't think. Like, you should be getting at least a 70% cut for your content. This 50-50 shit is bullshit. And so I finally got an email back after I did that thing, submitted that application for an invitation or whatever the fuck. And why is this cuck still streaming? Someone DDoS this faggot. Are you serious? Fuck off, cunt. Anyway, So I had submitted this application for the 50-50 split, and then I finally got an email back saying, "Hey, thanks for your interest. Apply via this link." So I follow this link, and it's the same page with the same button to send an invitation, but this time the cut is different. It says 70-30, I think. And I was like, "Oh, so they have different pages depending on who they're reaching out to. Like if it's just some guy who goes to them for a partnership deal, then it's 50-50. But if they reach out to you, they send you a link to a special page that has a 70-30 cut or whatever." Oh yeah, so I follow this link and I try and accept the 70-30 deal, and it says it can't process it because I already sent an invitation for the 50-50 agreement and that was still pending. So I emailed the guy back. I was like, "Dude, I'm interested, but I can't apply for the 70-30 cut because I still have this accidental 50-50 thing that I submitted. So can you please cancel that first one so I can put this 70-30 one through?" The guy, I was talking to this one guy, and he said, let me talk to my superiors and I'll get back to you. I think we were talking over Skype at this point. And then he gets back to me over Skype, and he's like, "Yeah, my higher ups just told me to tell you to accept the first one." And I'm like, "No, nice try. That's a 50-50 revenue split. That's not what you sent me. You sent me a link for a 70-30. That's what you were willing to offer me, so that's what I'm going to take. I'm not going to suddenly step down to 50-50 because, I made the mistake of sending a premature invitation through the regular part of the website." And that really pissed me off right at that point. I was like, "God damn it. Like, here, I had some faith that you guys weren't bullshit, and here it is. It's always the fucking same. They'll try to bleed you for whatever you're worth. If they can get you for 50-50, they'll try." So he's talking to me, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't even mean to send you the 70-30 agreement. I actually meant to send you the 65-35. I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, this seems like these guys really don't have their shit together. And it pisses me off that, content creators, there's all these people that are a part of these bullshit networks that try and take a cut from all these hardworking content creators just because they're partnered with some bullshit SEO thing that nobody cares to explain to me how exactly the fuck it works. And so they can just sit back and relax and do nothing and take a cut. And, their only job at the company is to recruit more people. They're not actually doing anything to actively justify the revenue cut. The only work that they seem to be actually doing is the fact that they have a team of artists doing, but then even then that's not them, that's artists that they've hired. You know what I mean? So the person who was talking to me, he's not doing anything on a creative capacity. He's just sitting there. This is his job, is recruiting people for the lowest amount possible. As cheapest as you can get them. So eventually I'm a little back and forth with this guy. Like, what exactly are you doing to like justify the revenue cut? He replied to me with something that I heard it and I immediately thought like, wow, what a load of shit. He was saying like, "Well, that's not really the way to think of it. The way to think of it is that your revenue cut that you're giving to us, you're investing that in the search engine optimization technology to increase your views." I'm asking, how does it work? What is this search engine optimization? I mean, what is it exactly? What's the extent of it? Is it more than just, spamming a bunch of fucking commonly used keywords in the video metadata? Is that all the fuck you're doing? Are you doing anything other than that? Because, if that's it, I can take care of that. And you're fucking, the dashboard stuff, vidIQ, Epoxy, TubeBuddy, that's all shit you can get on your own. You don't need to be a part of a network to get that, but just, that's one of the perks that they have, that they get all these services and then they offer it to you. Like it's them doing something for you, but it's just these independent services that operate on their own. And I can get those things without joining a network. I just have to pay out of pocket for it, which seems like a small price to pay compared to the revenue cut that they're prepared to take, I've yet to join a network and they all seem like scams pretty much. I don't think I'll be moving to one anytime soon. So how do I get in the mood for writing? Fuck, man. I mean, it's hard. A lot of the times I'm not. But you force yourself to sit down and think. And, you know, sometimes you sit there for hours and hours and nothing comes, you know, and it's frustrating. The best thing is to try and latch on to a feeling. You know, there's something about what you're writing that makes you feel something, and you want other people to feel that same feeling, right? Like everybody's whenever anyone has a story idea, there's a reason, there's a drive within them that's making them want to write that story in particular. So you have to like be very self-critical. Think about what is that feeling? What is it that you're trying to get across through this story that you're working on? What is it that you want, that you feel, that you want the audience to feel, right? And so you always cling to that as a way of motivating yourself, right? So you think, what is there some kind of basic building block, some kind of scene that I can envision and then build my episode or film around that? And that's usually the crisis moment of the story, like at the end of Act 2. That's when you have your main character reach the lowest depths, like the worst possible situation he could possibly find himself in. And that's often one of the defining points of any movie, if not the most definitive point. So yeah, you figure out what that is, and then you build your kind of movie around that. That's how I tend to do it. It's not always the crisis moment that I start with. Sometimes it's the ending. Sometimes it's the break in Act 2, the big event, the call to action, the call to adventure, whatever it is. You try and find that feeling. That's what motivates you, right? And you want to articulate that as efficiently as possible so the audience feels that same feeling that you're trying to get across. And that feeling comes within you. That's something only you can know. So it's up to you to find it. Secondly, what's your outlining process for an episode and season? Well, for this season 8, for example, it's split up on my board up here into 5 parts, or acts. I tend not to call them acts because the episodes themselves have acts, so I try and call the season acts something different, so I call them parts, but they're pretty much the same thing. Parts, acts, however you want to look at it. 5 parts. Part 1 is the 2001 arc. Part 2 is going to be like a string of episodes that are very much like season 1, like the early seasons. And then parts 3 and 4 are like, it starts to get back into the storytelling focused era of the show that season 5 and season 6 resembles. And then the 5th part is going to be 1 episode, and that's the finale of season 8. And I already know most of what I'm building up to. And then once you break the whole season down into those containers, then you start breaking the individual episodes into containers. So you have 8 episodes per part, or for me, I have for this season, right? And so each part has 8 episodes, and you break those episodes into acts, right? You have your teaser, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. Sometimes I don't have a teaser. Sometimes I go straight into Act 1 at the very start, but sometimes there'll be a teaser there before the opening credits. Yeah, I'm almost at the start of pretty much every episode, I start with what the crisis moment is. Like, what is the point in this episode where all the things go to shit and the arbiter or chief is at his lowest possible point? Like, because that crisis moment kind of is one of the definitive points that tells you what the episode or the story is about, right? Because the implication, if the main character is having a crisis, it means they're being forced to choose between one thing or another thing, and they want both things, but they have to pick one. You spend the course of a whole film or an episode or of a show building up to that moment. This is often coupled with the moment of realization in a story, where the main character has a realization about himself or herself and realizes what they have to do and what they have to sacrifice to bring this story to a positive resolution. So you try and build your episodes around those key moments. And then you just comb through the whole thing back and forth, backwards, forwards, beat by beat, brick by brick, right? Once you split it up into acts, then you split it up into sequences. Or you can break it up even more finely than that. You can have like a list of locations. That is pretty much scenes, pretty much. So anytime you're in a new location, you're in a new scene, pretty much every time. So a list of scenes, right? And then you have a list of blocks And blocks basically just means a moment between two or more characters where there's a specific exchange of information or power, right? Something that moves the story forward. Or a new piece of information that's critical is revealed to us, the audience. So you order it into those blocks, right? It's like arbiter and this guy, arbiter and that guy, whoever, like these two people, that guy who does this, whatever. And then underneath those blocks, you break it up beat for beat, like each individual shot that you see. Like arbiter does this, arbiter does that. We see him in a wide shot, we see him in a close shot. And then underneath that, you go into dialogue, right? So it's just breaking it down into further and further detail, right, until you get to the exact shots and the dialogue that you have, right? And that's how I outline. That's how I comb through the whole thing, and that, and I try and avoid writing in prose. Like I'll do everything in 3-word beats. Noun, verb, noun, because you can summarize pretty much any kind of plot point or exchange in power or information or whatever in 3 words. Noun, verb, noun. Somebody does something. Somebody does this. This will happen. I don't know. It's just 3 words. It gets an idea down efficiently, and you don't have to think too hard about how you're going to word it because it's not a full sentence, right? So you can take care of that later. The important thing right now is outlining the story and make sure the sequence of events makes sense. And yeah, so you just comb back and forth until you have like a solid outline that you're comfortable with, and then you transform that into a script. I mean, you can even like save that outline as a text file and import that straight into a screenwriting application, and it might even like generate the scene headings for you. If you know how to write with fountain syntax, you can write a screenplay in Notepad. You don't even need fancy software. You can if you know the right syntax, fountain.io. If you're interested in this, go look it up. It's a particular kind of syntax. It's a way of writing, very simplistic way of writing, almost like programming, but very, very simplified so anybody can get the hang of it. Basically, it's little codes, like if you put an asterisk around each side of a word, it turns it bold. Or if you put like 2 around it, it turns it into italics. Or if you put 3 around a word, it turns it to bold and italics. Or if you type a character name in all capital letters and then immediately follow it with prose, then if you import that into a screenwriting application, they often know how to read fountain. So they'll know to transform that into a character name, parenthetical if there is one, and then dialogue with the proper indentation. It'll do all that for you. Same with scene headings. If in Notepad you write a scene heading and it starts with int or ext, interior, exterior, it'll automatically transform that into a scene heading if you bring that text file into Notepad, or into a screenwriting application, which could be Movie Outline, which I use, or Final Draft. That'll also work. There's a few other ones. Final Draft is good. I always use Final Draft for like the final export and polish, but I don't really use it for writing because I find that it always fucking lags on me eventually. It pisses me off. I don't know what's doing it. Because everybody seems to be getting along with Final Draft just fine, except for me, evidently. If I use it for like 20 minutes, I start getting that ghosting effect where it's like it's lagging so much that you're typing and the words on the screen are not keeping up with your fingers. So you type a sentence and then you got to sit back for fucking 5 minutes and wait for the thing to type itself out on the screen. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. And you're sitting there, oh my god. Like, this is industry level software. Why is this fucking flaking out so much? And it wasn't even just on the one computer. This was across multiple computers on various different versions of Windows. So why am I still getting the same fucking problem? I don't know why. But that's why I moved over to Movie Outline. That doesn't fucking lag for me. Movie Outline 3.0 specifically. It's not free, but it is a very good screenwriting program. And it doesn't lag, and it has a lot of features, and it's good. Try uninstalling. You don't think I tried that? I did all that shit, man. Uninstalled it, reinstalled it, fucking did a little dance. Did a rain dance outside. Did a few somersaults. Prayed to Jesus. Still didn't work. And finally, would you ever consider selling Arby and the Chief? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got a few... a t-shirt company emailed me at one point. And oh my god, it pisses me off, these robot emails that they send you. But some of them are convincingly written, but then, and it fools you at first, but then you get somebody with a different name belonging to the same company sending the exact same email. And then you realize, oh, it's just a template and they're just changing the name. I really am just talking to a bunch of fucking robots. Awesome. Here I was, thought I was making a genuine connection with, you know, an employee with a company he was proud of being a part of. But no, it's never fucking the case. And I responded to that email too. I was like, hey, I've bought shirts from you before. I think you guys are cool. Yeah, I'd like to do like maybe set up an online store maybe or something. And I was asking them questions like, there's a little, what I do is legally a little bit confusing because like I do my own show, but it's loosely based off of characters from the Halo franchise. So I mean, if people created artwork, would I legally be able to profit off the sale of a shirt, like if those are Microsoft trademarks? So it's a very gray area. But I saw other shit, like this t-shirt company was like, they'll do like artwork for like a Star Wars podcast group, and it's like Star Wars trademarks. So like if they're doing it, why can't I do my thing, you know? So I got an email and I replied to us, and I was waiting for a response back, and I didn't get one for like a week. And I heard back from them, but it wasn't in response to the email I sent. It was just a duplicate email of the same thing I got initially, just from a different person. And then that's when I realized, oh, it's bullshit. Like everything else, every other fucking offer that I get sent. Awesome. Merchandising store deals, network deals, turned them all down because they all just seem like shit. Anyway, finish off this email. I'd buy the fuck out of those. He's talking about Arby and the Chief shirts. They'd make a great cum rag. Great. You don't have to be a fan of the show. As long as they soak up semen, that's all that matters, right? I know websites like Spreadshirt would be ideal if you ever did consider it. Never heard of them. Nonetheless, sorry for the long email, and thanks for taking the time to read and answer this thing. And keep writing, man. You've got real talent. Also, I did some very rough math, and I fucking hate math, but I added up the views from seasons 1 to 8, and excluding bites, shorts, and that LA shit and Arby and the Chief has managed to gather over 120 million views over its lifespan. Hey, that's not bad. Not getting any ad revenue off that. Whatever, I guess it's just the eyeballs that counts, right? If I added up the other videos, it might be closer to 50. Anyway, congrats, man. That's more views than most Beyonce videos. Yeah, well, I'm sure Beyonce has a much more bigger number than 120 million if you add up all her video view counts together. Anyway, congrats, man. That's more views than most... Oh, yeah. So, John, you can now successfully say your series is more popular than Beyonce. Cheers, Kevin. Thanks, Kevin.